Okay, mic check. It was weird, but seems to be working now. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'll be on screen in just a second. I just need to get Photoshop to open up properly. Weird little glitches today. Nothing major, just weird small ones. Everything seems to be working. Hey, camera. There we go. Alrighty. Hope everybody's having a good day today. A good, what is it, Wednesday today? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. All right. My brain is having some time with it today. So today is going to be a little different. I was going to finish my self-portrait, but instead of finishing my self-portrait, I am going to do some deliberate practice, some exercises, and if I finish all of those super fast, which normally I would, but on stream I might not, I'll go and finish my portrait if I have time, but probably not. Realistically, I'll probably just save that for either off stream or Sunday, depending on how things go. So that's the plan today. Nope, wrong button. Trying to mute my phone so it doesn't bug me. All right. So today I am going to be working on lips. Going to be doing some exercises and painting some lips. I'm just going to see size-wise, just trying to see spacing. All right, that should be good. Now, I'm not overly concerned with getting the anatomy correct. Or rather, this isn't to study the anatomy, I should say. Of course, I want to get the anatomy correct, but I am familiar with the anatomy. I've done many studies on this particular subject, and while I can't remember the names of things, I feel pretty confident in understanding the structure. I keep getting these weird little like spikes in my audio. I wonder what's going on there. Can you hear music? If anyone's here, let me know if you can hear music in my audio. Hmm. I wonder what's going on there. I'm gonna lower my volume even more just to be sure. But it is earbuds. You shouldn't be able to hear it. Anyways, I just don't want YouTube to what's it called? To you know demonetize. Well, I'm not monetized, but content strike me or something. That's really one of my concerns. They are so overzealous with that aspect of things. I've had that happen with headphones where I was wearing big headphones and YouTube could pick up the music playing in my headphones barely, but it could pick it up, and so it like muted my stream. So I'm a little overcautious about that. I have to be careful. I don't want to get oil paint on myself, but these are brand new gloves, so currently nothing on them. But yeah, gotta always be careful. Oil paint gets around easily. I think I've figured out one of the reasons why oil paint gets everywhere so much easier than other mediums is because it just stays wet for so long. If you get acrylic on your shirt, it dries and done. You have acrylic on your shirt, but it doesn't keep traveling. If you get oil paint on your shirt, then you touch it and he'll be wet for, at least a day. I think I want to figure out a way of having this like closer with me all the time because it's so useful, but it's only useful if I have easy access to it. Thinking maybe I can strap it to my arm or something. All right, let's get started. So I will talk a bit about what the plan and what the thinking is today and so on. All right, we'll do that in just a second. I have not been good to my brushes lately. How do I lose stuff in such a small vicinity? I don't have to understand how I constantly lose things in the smallest area possible. And how? How is that possible? Okay, found it. Jeez. Hey, Des. You're half here. You're busy doing something, but trying to listen. No worries, Des. You don't, no obligations. But if uh, if you think you're not going to be here, if you think this will continue all night, let me know. Um, if you think you'll be in more later, I'll hold off on some of the brush stuff we talked about. I'll save it for later. So just let me know. For anyone who's wondering, who is Des and why am I talking to Des? Des is one of the chatters currently in Twitch, so often on YouTube as well, and in my Discord, where I interact with people a lot more than I do on anywhere else, basically. So yeah, there should be links to my Discord, especially on my YouTube, in my YouTube description. And more than welcome to join. Come to my Discord, hang out, ask questions if you have painting questions, and so on. Or share your art, or ask to get feedback. I have a feedback channel. Anyways, yeah, should have full attention available on that. Okay, I'll hold off then, because we were talking about, talking about brush and paint stuff. I'll hold off till later with that. Not a problem. So I will go into talking in general right now to anyone who is lurking or anyone who is watching the video after the fact. Yeah, let's get into it. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing some exercises, some deliberate practice exercises. And hold on, just. And I do this occasionally. I used to do this a lot more. It's always good to do. The idea is just to focus and practice on something in particular. I'm doing lips today, but the goal is not to learn. You can, okay, when painting something like lips, you can practice on painting, the anatomy and learning the anatomy and different shapes and all that. That is not the case for me today. I am way more focused on the paint handling and color choices. All of this is stemming from some feedback I got recently from Nicholas Uribe, an artist who I very much, I don't know what the word for follow, appreciate. He's a big influence of mine. And also from Chelsea Lang, who has also influenced my work a lot. And getting that feedback, I am going to try and learn from it and see how I can incorporate it into my painting. So I'll be doing a few studies of lips and we'll see how it goes. And I will be doing that as soon as I clean my palette, apparently, because I let it dry. Thought I'd put it away soon enough, but I guess I didn't. All right. So for anyone who isn't familiar, I'm using a glass palette This is just a $5 piece of glass that I got from the hardware store. It's a 16 by 12 because that is the max size that will fit into my Masterson's painting stay wet palette. It's just basically like a big Tupperware for paint. For yeah, glass palettes are great for oil paint because you can use a razor to scrape off the paint. Also, if the paint is too hard to scrape off, you can use isopropyl alcohol, and that will dissolve the paint as well. And then you can rub it off with a paper towel or something. Only issue is that sometimes it makes that horrible scraping sound. Ah. And the glass will scratch over time. That's just inevitable. Um, this is why I don't buy expensive glass palettes, because those expensive glass palettes are not scratch proof. They scratch as well. So you might as well just get the cheap ones. And like I said, I got this for like $5 at Home Depot, and I used some very fine sandpaper to sand the edges so it's not sharp. I did that while wearing a mask because I have no idea what glass dust does to a person. So I was wearing a mask and I did it outside. And once this gets too scratched up, I will flip it over. And once the other side is too scratched up, I will just buy a new one for $5. So yeah. I know people use stuff from like what's it called? Picture frames and things like that. I get that. However, some of those picture frame glass, some of it's not tempered glass, and some of it is remarkably thin. So just be cautious. You don't have to get tempered glass. It's just generally it's safer. Um, but depending on how you keep your glass or store it, it might actually not be safer. So what I mean by that is if you always have your glass, let's say on a table, flat against the table, um, then regular glass in a way might, depending on the circumstance, be safer because it's not under tension, internal tension like tempered glass. But if it falls, you're more likely, or breaks, you are more likely to get cut up. So, you know, I'm not a glass expert, so I can't really help in that. I do wish I could buy, um, I do wish I could buy the same kind of glass that like my cell phone screens are made out of, like a big sheet of that. I wish I could do that. You might be able to now that I think about it. I haven't looked. I wonder how much, what are they up to now? It's like Gorilla Glass 6 or something like that. I can't remember. Uh, who knows? Maybe. I haven't looked into it. That, that, that could be interesting. Now I know what I'm going to be Googling later tonight. Out of my red. Need to get that real quick. All right. So I cropped these images so that I just have like the mouths. Um, so they're just like mouths in a circle, like a, just a cutout circle. Freaking Thalo. Just realized I forgot to do my normal crosshairs. I when I paint or draw from a reference, I like to draw um, center lines. Not imperative, but I do appreciate them. Not that getting the exact circle and size is the most important thing for me today, but you know, habits are what they are. So I personally use Mars Black most of the time. I find it to be a stronger black that can kind of run with my strong colors. Uh, and also, it's not bone black, which is ivory black. Ivory black is called bone black sometimes because it's made from charred bones. There are other blacks. There's charcoal black, which I don't know what it's made out of. I mean, charcoal, I don't know where they derive the charcoal from. And then there's a few others, like there's chromatic black, which is made out of a mixture, and the mixture varies depending on the company that you're buying it from. Um, there's spiral black or spineral black. I can't remember. Basically, what I'm getting at is there's a bunch of different blacks out there. Um, Bone black is the only one that I know of that is made from animal bones, and I generally don't use it because of that reason. It's not superior or that much better than any other black, in my opinion. I've used it in the past, so that's why I don't use it anymore. So the aspect that I'm focused on today is um, color choices, although I don't really have to make any choices on the ones that are um, copies. Oh, to be clear, if I wasn't clear, I'm actually going to be copying some artists, and then I'm going to be painting some original lips. So some will be copies, some will be originals. And by copies, I just mean studies. I'm not taking ownership of it. It's just to improve my skills. Um, and the focus is on color choices, which, like I said, I don't really need to make any on the ones that are copies, and then uh, brush handling. Hey, Donnelly, good to see you. How you doing? For anyone who doesn't know Donnelly, you should. He's a streamer on Twitch, a digital artist, and a lot of fun. Goes by Donley O. That's Donley, one word, underscore O with three H's. What you been up to, bud? They changed the Dino dancing emote back. That's cool. I didn't know it changed, but good to know, I guess. Over helping your parents. Now, when you say over helping your parents, do you mean you're over there helping your parents, or do you mean you're so done with helping your parents, you're over it? You were at your parents' place helping them. All right. Got it. Got it. I love my parents. Um, but I don't know if if you have this experience, but especially my mom. I love my mom, but she gets on my nerves sometimes so fast. It's astonishing. It's like a superpower. Not always. We have a good relationship, and like I said, I do love her very much. But she has a superpower. Chops Doodle says, "I want to draw too," and you should draw too. That sounds great. I'm not going to be sharing my reference because for numerous reasons, but you should absolutely draw. In fact, I can recommend a YouTube channel you can go check out that has reference of me and other artists. I am your reference. Okay, cool. Have fun. Feel free to tag me at the end. I'd love to see it. Tomley says, your relationship with your mom may be a bit similar to my relationship with my dad. I think a lot of parents have that ability. The good thing is, though, I don't know, for me with my mom at least, that it I don't feel like it ever matters. Like none of that is important. I never stay mad at her for that stuff. And no worries, Donnelly. Enjoy your lurk. Good luck getting your stuff done. Chops Doodle, do you stream on Twitch? Are you streaming right now? I know some people do that. They'll come into other people's streams while they're streaming and stuff like that. Nope, you don't, but you should. Yeah, if you feel like it. I'll put it this way. I don't encourage people to stream nearly as much as I encourage them to do art because I feel like making art is great and everybody should do it. Streaming is a little different. If you want to, though, you absolutely should. There shouldn't be anything stopping you, I'll put it that way. Well, you don't talk a lot and focus more on drawing. I mean, you can do silent streams, you know. There are people who do that. They're not as popular for 99.99% of the people, but if you're not doing it, it just all depends on what you want to get out of it too. I don't know if your phone has this. My phone, I have it right here in front of me. It has a hyperlapse feature that automatically makes time lapses, and it changes based off of movement how fast or slow it records. But most phones have a time lapse feature. That can also be a good option if you want to record yourself. Because dealing with like big video files is a huge pain. You're also a big procrastinator. I feel that. So am I. Do you happen to have ADHD? Because I do, and apparently that's often uh, associated with that, or uh, often part of that. Not always. Probably. I wasn't diagnosed till much later in life, so I feel you. What kind of medium do you draw in or paint in? I'm assuming drawing, because you said drawing. And by the way, if you want to focus on your drawing, which I totally understand, feel free to just let me know that you're going to be lurking, and I won't continue to ask you questions. Digital, you're trying to get into watercolors? Nice. Uh, if you're not familiar with but watercolor is a B word? No, not at all. Watercolors are great. Check out Dylan Sarah um, on on YouTube um, and Instagram. I recently was on their podcast Drawn Together, where they were drawing me and I was painting me. They have artists. They were interviewing me while doing it, not just that. But the reason I mention it is uh, he has a course coming out, a class that is pencil, ink, and watercolor portraits. If that's something that interests you, he's really good. So you might want to check him out. Don't like that it does what you don't want it to do. I mean, there's definitely an element of that in watercolors for sure. I think there are two major factors to that. One is that over time, the better you get at it, the more control you have at it, have of it. And second, I think embracing some of that is really good. I try to embrace some of that randomness in my oil painting, and in fact, in my regular paintings, not my studies like this, I purposefully introduce more of that into my painting through different means. Like I use a brayer, and that's if you don't know what that is, it's a roller, and I go over my painting in the early stages to like mess it up essentially and transfer color into areas it's not supposed to be. And I try to preserve some of that till the end. And even if I don't preserve some of that till the end, I let that inform other decisions, which I think I wouldn't make if I didn't do that. So I think one of the factors with watercolor is trying to embrace some of that randomness that it does. But I can understand how it's frustrating too, don't get me wrong. Also, I don't know if this is helpful, but I saw a reel recently where someone used a magic sponge. I don't know if you're familiar with those. It's a cleaning supply, right? And they used that to erase um, uh, watercolor that had stained the paper, which I thought was really interesting. Basically, what that does is I think it uses micro abrasions to basically sand it down, but like super, super, super fine. Um, but that's just, I think, what it's actually doing underneath it. Let's see. Also, I do not understand that the paper really matters. What do you mean you don't understand that it really matters? Like in your experience, it hasn't really mattered? Because I can definitely attest to the fact that the paper you use with watercolor will make a big difference. It might be that you're not, if it hasn't made oh, that it does. Yes, yes, it makes a huge difference. That is uh, one of the annoying parts about it. If there are aspects of watercolor that you really like, but other aspects that are frustrating, you might want to check out gouache. That might be a good alternative. But definitely check out Dylan Sarah's thing. Even if you don't take his class, you can check out his portraits and stuff. And he also has a weekly uh, group drawing thing that he hosts, which is pretty cool. So yeah, might want to check that out. I'll try and put a link later on. But yeah, if you go to if you search Dylan, Sarah drawn together, you'll find it. You have a set of gouache you haven't used yet. Welcome back, Des. I saw it. I couldn't figure out how to shoehorn the welcome back in, but welcome back. Gouache also has its own challenges, of course. It's not, no medium is perfect, honestly. There is no perfect medium. But yeah, if you want to look into gouache, like you have a set, that's great. Thank you, Des. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. Thank you. Um, check out oh, what is his name? Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name right now. One second, I'll remember his name. He's a fantastic gouache painter. He also uses casein. Um, and I am thinking of, oh my God, my brain is not functioning. What is up with that? Actually, I know what's up with that. Donley, thank you, man. Um, I can't believe I'm spacing on his name. I'll remember in a little bit, I'm sure. He was the artist and writer of Dinotopia. That helps. People are going to know his name, I'm sure. Someone will know his name. James Gurney. Oh my God. Thank you, Donley. My brain was just like, could not pull up that name. Oh my God. Got one of his books right here. Yeah, he is so good. He's one of those people that's so good, you want to curse him out and like be like, fuck you, you asshole. You're so good. And also, by the way, such a sweet guy. If you've ever met him in person, I met him in person once. So nice. Just like super duper nice. Also just kind of like a general pleasant kind of guy. Yeah, super sweet, super nice. I don't mean the curses. It's just out of pure frustration because he makes it look so easy. That says, haha, I've modded for years. I was a mod for a Hogwarts Legacy streamer who had 20K viewers at the time. Jesus. You had to work your fingers to the bone, making commands, doing so much exhausting. That's funny. Chops Doodles, the Automod caught you. I'm not Chops Doodle says LOL, but also fuck you, Leon. I'm not allowing it through because every time I allow things through, the auto mod remembers it and makes a what's it called? Uh, a rule, and I don't want to create that rule, but thank you, I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. I understand the context. Thank you. I can't imagine having 20K viewers in my chat. That's just ludicrous. James Gurney is crazy dedicated. He built scale models to create the insanely intricate world he made. Absolutely. Des says it's in my nature to help out streamers, I guess. I appreciate that, Des. You are not obligated at all, but I do appreciate it. Oh, and he had drops enabled, so everyone was in there asking for the drops. Yeah, I don't get. No, thank you. Look, I will say this. I am not looking to pursue becoming a big streamer like that. Like, I don't have any expectations of that happening. I won't turn it down because of the money if it happens. Um, I think that's pretty obvious, but I really don't expect it and would honestly, I think, struggle with so many people in chat. Not to mention that I don't do anything that, is that popular. So I can't imagine that ever happening. But I will sell out for that in a heartbeat if that happens. Just saying. But then I think I'd have to like start paying someone like Des to actually like handle a lot of stuff for me because I am incompetent for that type of stuff. Des says I was joking with my daughter that I was going to start streaming digital again and do Taylor Swift portraits and K-pop band portraits. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all, especially if you enjoy doing them, you know. I've done fan work before. I mean, on my slideshow, you'll see, I did one of John Wick, or what's it? I mean, it was of John Wick specifically, but absolutely, if that's something you enjoy. I know you're joking, and the reason is just to get views, but like, yeah, also nothing wrong with that. I don't know if you're familiar. Uh, well, you're not a fan of those, but there are plenty of people who are. That is true. However, I will say one thing I'm not going to tell people what to do, and I am not the expert on making a lot of money. So, by all means, feel free to disregard anything I say. Having said that, um, generally speaking, I feel like if you pander and it's not something genuine, I feel like people can tell. Not to mention, imagine if you attracted an audience of a particular, like a particular fandom that happens to be a very annoying fandom. Now, I'm not saying Taylor Swift fandom is because I don't have a death wish. Um, that's a joke for people, but I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't want to attract an annoying fandom either. You prefer the whole Star Wars, Star Trek, and Harry Potter sort of thing? That's fun. Yeah. Maybe combine them. What about doing Taylor Swift as different Harry Potter characters? your heart needs to be in it to turn out well. The problem is that Swift would drop the axe down on me because she doesn't let any copyright go. That might be the case. I don't know how strong she is about that, specifically with smaller creators. There are a lot of smaller creators, though. There are a lot of not small creators, bigger creators that are happy with smaller creators making stuff for them, um, or of them. So Taylor Swift might not be the best, but I'm sure there are others. Leod squints. Yeah, I squint. I don't know why you say I don't squint. You're funny. I squint funny, like a llama. Hmm. That's also my self-defense mechanism. I spit. I'm also really good at shooting water out between my teeth because I have all the gaps. Yeah. Oh, let me zoom in. I can totally zoom in on this. Yeah, there we go. I hate that this thing that the camera's on has a little bounce to it. I wish it was sturdier. It has just the smallest amount of flex. I hate it. Hey, Sujan, welcome. How you doing? Do I recommend bristle brushes in the initial layers of painting and later softer brushes? I see soft brushes here. No, this isn't a bristle brush, but it's not a soft brush. Uh, it's not a super firm brush, but it's not a soft brush. Um, Generally speaking, you want to have firmer brushes in the beginning, softer brushes at the end, generally speaking. I personally don't condone bristle brushes, natural hair bristle brushes, which is generally, if it's a bristle brush, it's a natural hair bristle brush. I personally can't condone them because they are using animal products to make them, and honestly, I feel like it's completely like I don't think it is that much better or makes an improvement. You also notice that I blend less to express more brushstrokes. Okay, I'll talk about blending in a second. You're partially correct, partially not. So yeah, uh, honestly, synthetic brushes now are just as good as natural hair brushes. Some artists will tell you otherwise. That's their opinion. They're entitled to it. Doesn't really matter. You can get really good brushes that are synthetics, and they have really firm ones now. Yes, Princeton has synthetic bristles. In fact, I have one here. Uh, or no, wait, this is. I think this is an older brush I had, but this is a bristle brush. Sorry, this is one I bought a long time ago and never used. Um, I think. Um, Hey, Asheru, welcome. But yeah, I have bristle brushes. The thing you'll notice with bristle brushes is they carve more into the paint and they like scrape more if you press hard. So they're good for thick application of paint or very, very scratchy and very thin paint. But they're not very good for blending generally. This one is Princeton Dakota, and it is on the firmer side. You're using Princeton Catalyst series, superb. Do I have any catalysts? I have a bunch of Princeton ones. I don't know if I have catalysts specifically. I have Princeton Aspen. Um, it's this kind. It is also on the firmer side. Yeah, it's on the firmer side. Um, I have a bunch of different ones because I was buying from Jerry's Artorama, so I have a bunch of different kinds. This is a softer one. Um, I don't think this is Princeton, but this is Silver Silk. This is a softer brush, generally speaking, and they can go much softer. Um, I will say this: I have a brand I won't recommend anymore. Hold on, let me. Um, I don't recommend Royal and Langnickel Zen series. I can't recommend them. If you see what's happening to the brush here, it's falling apart. See, that's not good. And I've had another one of these brushes where all of the hairs were pulling out of it too, like in a big chunk. So at this point, I can't really recommend them. They are cheap though, so if you don't mind ruining them real fast, they're cheap. Uh, this is excellent too, but Aspen wears off faster, you noted? That's cool. Asheru says losing a potential sponsor. I wouldn't feel right being sponsored by them. But I will say this, if they fix their brushes and they want to sponsor me, then at least I'm not, I'm telling the truth. Do I throw unused brushes? Do I throw them away, you mean? Depends on how damaged and how they're damaged. Damaged brushes can be useful in certain circumstances. Just kind of depends. Also, I by the way, hi Asheru. If I didn't say hi, hello. I use I'm zoomed in still. I use this stuff, Murphy's wood cleaning oil. I have another bottle somewhere. Um, yeah, I use this stuff to wash my brushes, and if I mess up my brushes and I don't treat them well, I will put some of that in a jar, and I will add water to it, and I will soak my brushes in it, hoping to revive them. And it has worked to a degree. It's not perfect, and it won't always work, but it can help. However, treating your brushes better is always better. And I'm happy to talk about. Let's talk brushes a little more for a second, okay? Since it's perfect timing. Both Des had some questions about brushes, and I can talk about cleaning my brushes as well. So, um, you can go on YouTube. You can find videos of people telling you how to clean your brushes. You wash them and you wash them with the head down, and you use your hands to slowly work out the color and the oil and any particles in the ferrule. The ferrule's the part up atop, by the way, and do all that stuff. That is all absolutely true. They are absolutely right about that. I'm not going to argue. I don't know how to take care of natural hair brushes. They're a little different. There's something like you can't use water, or you can't. I don't know. I don't touch natural hair brushes. I don't care. Um, so for me, the thing that I found works the best personally, and I don't always do it because I'm stupid, um, and that works against me. I have here, let me show you. I basically have, camera, hello. I have two containers like this. These are the travel cleaning containers. You don't have to get these ones. You can use jars with mesh in the bottom or anything. One thing I will say is I do advise anything that has like a rubber gasket inside to make sure it's airtight sealed is ideal. I have two of them. One has Gamsol in it, one has safflower oil in it. I try not to use Gamsol in my painting much. I was just looking over. I have a big jug of it, and it's going to take me an eternity to go through. I don't know why I even bought it. Oh, whatever. Anyways. Yes. So what I do at the end of my painting session, if I'm good, is I take my brushes and I take my paper towel. I use shop towels, by the way. Vivo or Viva paper towels are also good, and there probably are other brands, but shop towels and Viva are good because they don't like put off any dust or fibers or anything. So I just take Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, there we go. All right, so I just, do this to my brushes. Just a little, pinch, squeeze, and pull kind of thing. Not too hard, but, I do that. Then I take my brush. I take all my brushes. I open up my Gamsol and I, use the container, clean out my brushes, wipe them off on the towel and everything. After I'm done with that, I do the exact same thing in safflower oil. And then I, wipe them off. But I don't wipe them off at the very, very end. I don't wipe them off very hard so that they still have safflower oil on them. Safflower oil dries very slowly. And the idea is that my brushes will still be good to go. They'll still be wet the next day. So I'm basically leaving them wet. You can make a brush dip, which is even better theoretically. I've never used it, but you can make it. It's something like safflower oil or walnut oil with clove essential oil in it. Thing is, if you do that, make sure to like wipe it off when you go to paint the next day. Now, if I don't paint the next day, and once again, and I'm good, I will dip them in safflower oil again. Basically, as long as you dip them in safflower oil every day, you can leave them like that for forever for the most part. Only time I wash my brushes with water is when I know I'm not going to paint for a long time. Or I was stupid, left them out for too long. They're all hard and splayed, and I need to what's it called? I need to soak them and try and revive them. The advantage of that is also it takes very little time to do what I just described. Very, very little time compared to like rinsing them with water repeatedly and all that. Yes, so time consuming. I used to do that. That used to mess up my brushes so much faster. By the way, I hated that. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about is because I don't wash my brushes while I paint. Des was wondering how I paint if I don't wash my brushes. I so once again, I do the this thing, but if I need a cleaner color, you can dip your brush into oil. I don't have any oil right now, but I do have oleo gel, so I'll take some oleo gel, and I'll just with nothing but oleo gel, I'll just do this to work some of that color out. See, all that was in the brush. All this color was in the brush. And then I can wipe it off again. The other thing you can do is grab, obviously if you're trying to go to a darker color, don't grab white, grab black, but you can grab white and work the color out of your brush as well. If I was going to be going from like red to blue or something like that, I can do that with blue as well. And another thing is if I know what I'm going to do exactly, like I know I'm going to be making a stroke here, right, of a certain color. And let's say my brush had like red in it. Like here, I'll show you. Okay, my brush has red, right? My brush is kind of pink now, loaded with pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe it down, but it still has too much pink in it, and I want to put down a green color, like right over here, greenish gray. What I'll do is I'll mix up that color. And I won't have a thin pile, but rather a thicker pile than I normally do, maybe. And I'll grab the brush after wiping it down, and I'll kind of scoop up the paint as much as I can. I maybe didn't mix enough, but I'll scoop up the paint, and then I'll just put it down with a single stroke. That's the wrong color, um, but you can see if I zoom in, there's no red in this gray green color. But if I go back here, you can't see it, but let's see. But you can see there's still red in the brush. So you basically are using your brush kind of like a palette knife, kind of. Yeah. And that's how I handle that. But if you do need super, super clean color, like have to be the purest of whatever color you're working with, palette knife or a new brush is the way to go. Just use a new brush. You can. The problem with just a new brush is um, you run out of brushes eventually because you're painting wet onto wet, they get dirty. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. One of the things I will say is when I first started painting with oils, I was using brushes that were very, very soft. And and the paints I were using weren't the best paints either. So I was using a combination of very stiff paint and very soft brushes. And that's a very bad combination. That will what's it called? That will not that's not a good combination. And what happened was I would have to use so much solvent. At the time I was using solvent. I would have to use so much solvent or oil just to be able to paint that everything I put down was super thin, like super duper thin. Um, and everything just seemed to kind of dissolve into itself. It was very frustrating. It made painting very, very frustrating. And that's not a good way of painting, for the record. Um, so you want to be able to put paint down and see it easily. So don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. I'm not saying you need the most expensive paints, by the way. Uh, Winsor Newton is my kind of go-to of like they are artist quality, they are reasonably priced, generally speaking, and they're fine. I know tons of professional painters who use Winsor Newton. They're fine. You could go your whole career using nothing but Winsor Newton and you'd be fine. Are they my favorite? No, but it's fine. I think at the moment, I think M Gram might be my favorite at the moment. They're on the softer side, and that's why I like them. They come out more creamy and buttery, but that's personal preference too. Ashra, I have a question that sounds a little stupid. I'll be the judge of that. If you do a first layer to tone your canvas with solvents and you not break the fat over lean rule, uh, oh, So if you tone your canvas with solvents break down the oil, so it turns it lean for the most part. So anything you put, any solvents you put down, any paint you put down with solvents are considered lean. So they're perfect for the first layer. That's why people do that. Having said that, if you want to do glazing on top, I have no idea. All right, this is not perfect, but I'm going to move on to the next one. Um, so for anyone who came in late, I'm I'm trying to incorporate some feedback I got recently, and I'm trying to learn from it. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of lip studies for that reason. You're doing a school project and listening to the stream. Oh, awesome. Good luck on your school project. Welcome back, Des. Only says, thought maybe it was a lip study and attempt at painting with contrasting colors. Does my Twitch stream say contrasting colors still? Uh, uh, I've had issues changing my stream information on Twitch recently. Um, but no, I am painting. Uh, it is a lip studies. I am doing lip studies, but the focus is not so much on the anatomy of the lips, but of the paint and paint handling and so on. Sujan says, I find very difficult to paint open mouth or teeth. Um, I see, Donley. I see. Uh, Open mouths are hard. Teeth can be difficult. Painting people smiling is extremely difficult. The reason for that is numerous. One of the main reasons is people don't hold smiles in real life for very long. A smile is a momentary thing. So when we see it for extended amount of time, it often looks like a grimace. So that's one of the reasons. Um, and then for so that's A. And then for the other thing is because smiles, and this actually goes for more than just teeth and smiles, um, but because smiles are generally a fleeting thing that just happens for a short time, we don't generally notice all the detail in the smile, in the mouth, in the teeth. We don't see teeth very clearly, for very long most of the time, unless you're a dentist, right? Um, and so we also don't exactly know what they look like that well, in a way. And more than that, when you see all that detail in someone's face, it looks unnatural. So when you paint teeth, you have to be very, like an open mouth smile, you have to be very careful, at least my understanding, to not paint all the detail that you see. You actually have to scale back the detail in order to make it look better. Unless you're doing like ultra, you know, like what's it called? Ultra realism, where you're painting like you're making a photocopy of reality, in which case do that. But yeah, that's been my experience with that. Do I use filberts or flats more and why? I pretty much only use flats at this point. I have filberts. I have a couple of them. I don't really use them. I mean, I do use them because I have them, but I let me put it this way. I don't plan on replacing them once I once they die on me. I don't plan on replacing them. I I don't find any. I don't know what the point of filberts is the issue, right? Um, I don't understand the point of them. Uh, what are filberts and flats? Okay, sure, yeah, absolutely. A flat brush is, let's see, Chops Doodle says, can I link in chat what I have so far? Where are you linking to? What platform are you linking to? Um, so this is a flat. It's a flat brush, right? Gaiazo? I don't know Gaiazo. I'm sorry. Don Lee, do you know Gaiazo? Des? Unless you want me to use something else. I'm just not familiar with it. I'm just, you know, yeah. Uh, okay. All right. Yeah, you can go ahead and do it. Okay. Sure. Go ahead. You can drop it in the chat, in Twitch chat. It should come up. Okay, so this is a flat, right? A filbert is like a flat with the edges rounded off on the sides. Like flat, also flats are, as the name implies, flat, like this, right? Um, yeah, it's got auto modded. don't be mad at me. This says can't show nudes. Definitely can't show nudes. Hold on, let me see what this is going on. Go away. Just pop up. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's great. I'm not mad at all. That's great. I'll share it in I will share it in YouTube chat as well, so everyone can take a look at it. Yeah, that's awesome. First time trying to do it as digital painting. Ah, good job. Good job. That's a lot of fun. Um, Flats create more defined edges. So okay, hold on a second. They're talking in chat real quick. I'm going to leave that and answer, and then I'll get back to it. Filberts create a more soft edge in the painting, and flats create a more defined edge. I don't think so. I know that's what they say. That hasn't been my experience. In my experience, what happens is flats create a flat, edge, and filberts just create a kind of coned edge. And if you drag it far enough, then they both make the same kind of edge on the side, unless you're being very soft with the filbert and only using like the tip or the of the round part. And then maybe, but like I don't really paint like that. So maybe if you'd basically be dragging the edge of the brush through the paint. I don't really paint like that. I don't know. So far they feel kind of pointless to me. But if you like them, like by all means. Brights, by the way, are just flats that are like just flats, but that are shorter. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so they're sharing Chop Doodle's Instagram, and nice. Oh, Don Lee let me see. Don Lee's sharing something now too. Oh, that's awesome. This is Don Lee's work, by the way. Sorry to distract you from painting. Please carry on. No worries, Don Lee. It's all good. I don't mind. I don't mind talking about like the whole process, and I don't mind sharing people's work. So it's all good. But yeah, Filbert. I don't know. Theoretically, I suppose I haven't. It hasn't done that for me. But by all means, they're fine. I the way I dealt with brushes. I just bought a lot of brushes over the years from different brands and different styles and different because so there's flat, there's brights, there's extra long flats, there's shaders, there's what else? Daggers, dagger brushes. There's all kinds, and it just changes and depends. Also depends on the paint sometimes. It's so many variables. It's good to try different ones. And I know that's a very, privileged thing to say because some people can't afford it. But if you can't afford it, just go with flats. But if you can afford it, you know, over the years, slowly try out different ones. Do I use a palette knife? I do use palette knives. I don't usually paint much with the palette knife. Uh, I do sometimes do some of the backgrounds and some of the effects with palette knife, but I don't do a lot of the painting with palette knife. I wish I could because cleaning palette knives is so much easier than cleaning brushes, but I just haven't been able to get the nuance that I can get in a brush with a palette knife. Which, speaking of nuance, I can't remember who it was who asked this, so I apologize, but someone asked and said, I noticed you don't blend much. Is that for, um, oh, I don't remember what the exact question was, but the gist of it was, I don't blend much. Um, and if that's for a more expressive type of painting. Partially true. I do like to paint where you can see the brush marks. I want you to see all the brush marks I do. I want that in there. Having said that, that is not the only reason I don't blend. And it's not true. I do blend actually a lot. Um, but um, don't blend like you might expect um, on the canvas where you're like putting down a color and blending one color into the next. Or you may have seen this where people will get like a fan brush or a mop brush or a makeup brush and they'll put two colors next to each other and then they'll blend it that way. I don't do that either. Um, I don't think that's a good way of doing it unless what you need is a really soft, like if you need a very soft gradation for something, like a big area, sure, go for it. Absolutely. Um, but if what you want is to blend between like certain areas of the body or something, or like, you know, um, two colors or something that are close to each other, I think it's generally speaking better to mix the blended color and to put that down next to, like in between them, than it is to do like blend on the canvas. Now, having said that, um, I still am blending on the canvas. I am painting wet into wet, and my colors are absolutely like blending into each other a little bit, but it's not as it's not the same like taking a fan brush or a mop brush or something like that and doing that. Um, you can easily make mud if you do that, so you do have to be cautious with it as well. But yeah, that's I've always been like taught that you shouldn't blend on the canvas itself. Like I said, I'm still blending on the canvas. It's not entirely a true statement, but I'm referring I'm referring to the blending where you take, like I said, like a mop brush or something and you just like, in fact, it's kind of like what a lot of digital people do. They'll put two colors and then they'll just blur between the two. That's not a good way of painting. I, in my opinion, from what I understand, it's better to mix the color that goes in between those two and paint that in. I hope that's helpful or explains it. If that's not clear, by all means, let me know. I'll be happy to try and go into more depth about it. But yeah, I also use silicone paint scrapers or pushers or whatever the hell they're called. It depends on the brand. But yeah, I have you know, I have stuff like this. Um, this is just a soft silicone thing. I have other ones like that. I like those a lot too. Uh, Chopsdoodle says, I always have trouble trying to visualize like the green undertones like you have in there or blues. Okay. Well, if you're working digitally, you can of course color pick. That's the easiest way to do that. And do it as an exercise. Try and just color match and then color pick to see how close, how much you're on or off. Another thing is a lot of times it's not even as pronounced as it might appear. A lot of times it's just more gray, and because the gray is next to really warm colors, it looks more, you know, green or yellow or whatever. And then also, if you're doing it with paint or you're working from basically if you can't color pick, um, I would say buy or make a color isolator to help you see color better. So I have one here. Yeah. My brushes. I just dropped brushes. I have this thing, and what's good is you can use the little holes to like look at something and just isolate the color. And then you can see like, wait, how gray is that gray? You know? I can't really, but the thing is you can hold it up to things that are far away from you and just look through and see what color it is you're looking at. Very helpful. You really like the style that you have on the left. Well, thank you. That unfortunately is a study. So the style does not belong to me. If you like this style, though, I highly recommend checking out Nicholas Uribe. He has a YouTube channel called Our Painted Lives. He is a fantastic painter who has become one of my influences over the years. And I am doing a study of some lips from one of his paintings. Highly recommend him. Ashuru says, I've heard that color picking is cheating when painting digitally and is a bad habit. It is a bad habit. I don't care about cheating in that instance. That's whatever. It is a bad habit, but that's if you rely on it all the time. However, if for instance you do an exercise where let's say you try and match your colors, right? And then after you try and match your colors, you immediately check with the color picker to see how close you are. Then it is actually going to help you get better at color matching faster. And even if you get stumped, like let's say you're painting something and you need to pick a color and you're just like, I don't know what color this is. Let me use the color picker. Before you do that, think to yourself, what color do you think it is? Where on the color wheel do you think it is? And then see what it actually is and see if you were close. And you can then see, you can compare and contrast and see why you thought that to begin with. So you can still help yourself get better. Dunley says, and that's a neutral gray plastic surrounding the hole. The neutral gray helps you better see the colors. Correct. You can also make it with anything neutral gray. You could grab a piece of cardboard with neutral gray and put a hole through it. It's really easy, yeah. Des says, I ignore the color picker. You like to use your own colors and make more vibrant usually. Oh, that's absolutely fair. This is if you're trying to match colors. This is purely for the people who are trying to match colors. I think when you're beginning, matching colors is a good thing, but the more experience you get and the more expressive you want to be, I totally understand ignoring the colors because you don't have to use natural, realistic colors. But if you never develop that skill, you won't have the option if you ever want it. That's how most of these bad habits and crutches work, essentially. It's like, it's actually not a big deal until you want to do something different. You know, if you use a projector, I recently bought a projector, that's why I'm talking about it. But if you use a projector, uh, it can definitely become a crutch unless you, um, you know, have the skills to not use it. But if you don't and it becomes a crutch, then you are dependent on it. Then what happens when you need to do something without a projector? Then you're screwed. So that's why, yeah. I am returning the projector, by the way. It didn't work out for me. It didn't do what I wanted it to do anyways, so that was disappointing, but yeah. Uh, Palette paper is usually a neutral gray, if I remember correctly, which makes it a really good option for making your own color isolator thingy, by the way. But that plastic thing is not very expensive for the record. The one I have, um, and it's great for plein air painting because it has these little notches on it that tell you general proportions, like 9 by 12, 8 by 12, 11 by 14. And so you can slide it open to help you frame things. It's a useful little tool. They're not expensive. It's like $10 or I don't know. I don't know how much they are, okay? It's been a while since I bought it, but you know. Ashura asks, was a projector to trace? Yeah, sort of. So, yes, essentially yes, but it's a little more nuanced than that. Um, so, um, when I'm painting, especially when I'm painting on stream, I have a lot of things to focus on. You know, I'm reading chat. I have to monitor my stream. I'm actually monitoring two chats. Like it's a lot to deal with. Um, and certain things are better content wise than others when it comes to streaming. Um, you know, so I tend I tend to paint pretty quick and loose, especially in the beginning, but just in general, I tend to paint pretty quick. And while I do try and measure things and make sure I get things in the right place. Uh, it's not the highest concern. And so things have a tendency to kind of shift around a little, you know. We're talking very small things. if the eye moves even sometimes it's a couple millimeters, sometimes it's a quarter of an inch. It's a huge amount for a portrait these sizes. Um, and it's just, like I said, I just have so many things to focus on. That ends up being kind of not the biggest issue. And I don't mind that because I don't mind repainting a lot of things. I rather be more expressive and loose and not worry about getting it perfect and then correct when I need to. So my way of correcting those things right now is I have my reference pulled up on I have my reference on a monitor that's like over there where chat is hanging out too. Um, and what I do is that's where I look at my reference. So if I want to verify where things are, make sure I'm getting all my proportions correct, what I do is I take a photo of my painting and I load it into Photoshop and I overlay the two on top of each other. I use some filters, but just to help me see. But I overlay the two on top of each other. And then I can see anywhere I've made a mistake, anywhere that I need to adjust. And so then I spend time, often I spend time on stream doing those adjustments. No, that's all fine. But the thing is, on stream, I kind of don't like having to deal with that because I have to like take a photo, go to my computer, load it into Photoshop, do all that stuff. And I can't do all that stuff on camera. I can't show you my Photoshop while I'm doing it. So it's not the best for stream, in my opinion. So I thought having a projector for my stream could be cool because I could have it like mounted in the back at the same spot all the time. And when I needed to like check myself, I could just, flip it on kind of thing. Uh, See it on the painting itself, and then you all could also see it during the stream and see, oh, here you got this wrong, this is wrong, or whatever. Um, yeah, that was my thought. That's why I wanted it. But it doesn't really work out very well that way for numerous reasons, all technical reasons, but yeah. But otherwise, I don't really like feel the need for a projector. I mean, it's faster, you know, it could theoretically be faster under certain circumstances, possibly. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really need a projector. I can do everything without it. Yes, it would be cool. Why didn't it work? It didn't work for numerous reasons. Um, so the projector isn't, first of all, you can't really see it with this light on. I'd have to turn this light off, the one that I'm using right now, which, not the biggest deal in the world, but it's uh, it's a little bit of an issue. Resolution's part of it. So what happens is, okay, I know this is very obvious, but the closer the projector is, the smaller the projection, the further back it is, the larger it is, right? I mean, that's kind of an obvious. Um, uh, I'll address that, Des. I'll address that in a minute. So that's one issue. And given the size I'm working on right now, if I put the projector like all the way back there, it would, project like this is the image, this is the paper, this is the projection. And so you lose resolution and um it's not very good. So I'd have to have the projector like here, which is kind of like where I need to stand all the time. And it's not very convenient to have it kind of there. I could theoretically like hang it from the ceiling or something, but now we're getting into like overly complicated stuff. Also, it doesn't have a battery, so I'd be running wires and just it starts becoming a problem. That's one. Two, Des is correct to a degree. Projectors can warp the photo. They can. Current projectors, you have to get projectors that have keystone abilities. What that means is that they can like tilt the image. You lose resolution when you do that, but you can do that. But it's finicky. It's not, you have to like fiddle with it and get it right. Like this isn't like easy, just like turn it on, there it is, done, and done. It's very finicky. You have to like, and in this one, like you have to go into the software, and the software wasn't working right, or it was slow, and I couldn't Wi-Fi. I couldn't connect my computer. I couldn't project like my computer screen on the projector unless I hooked up a HDMI cable to it. And so you see where we're going with this. It's just this ever running thing of like more issues and more issues and more, and they're not like big deals, but it's always something. And it's like, I have a system that works. I just have to like take a photo and not be on camera for a few minutes, it's just like when I start comparing them all, it just doesn't make sense, so yeah, that's ultimately why that ended up happening. I would say if I were to, like, I might end up still buying a projector. I haven't decided 100% never to approach it again. I think one of the things that may like dictate is it just depends, like the type of projector I would buy will depend on my needs. For this size of these paintings that I'm doing right now, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to get a projector. It just doesn't really make sense. But if I were, I would get one of those like ultra portable ones with the batteries in them. And I'd probably like mount it where my camera is, like hang it next to my camera or something, and project from there and have it set up so that it always projects the same way, kind of thing. But yeah, it's just not worth it for this stuff. If I start painting a lot larger, maybe. There's no doubt about it that it's when it comes to speed, like it's fast. If you have this, if the setup doesn't take you forever, then it's faster. It's crazy to me to think that some Renaissance painter used projector as camera obscura to paint. That's yes and no. So there's a few techniques for that. There's camera obscura, which you're obviously familiar with. There's also another one where you use mirrors. They sell them now. You use a mirror, and you put the mirror basically in front of your painting or your drawing in a way that you're looking at the mirror, and you're basically, I think you're looking through one eye at the mirror, one eye at the thing you're drawing on, and you're basically using the edge of it. So when you move, what the area it covers changes. So you kind of use the edges of it to map out everything, something kind of like that, if that makes sense. And then for camera obscura, so here's the crazy thing. I don't know if you've seen this. If you've ever tried, you can turn your whole room into a giant camera obscura, like your whole apartment, your whole room, wherever you are. If you take your windows and you cover your windows and just, with like tinfoil, right, or whatever, and you poke a hole in it, you make a, I don't know how small or big the hole needs to be. It will project a flipped image on the opposing wall. It's really cool that you can do it. It's so easy in a way. Like, tinfoil, cardboard boxes, anything that will block the light can pull it off. Like, it's crazy how easy it is in a way. It looks really cool too. Don't get me wrong, I do think that all the things that the um, Renaissance painters did is insane. Like the working conditions they had were crazy. So yeah, I'm not trying to take that away from them. I'm just saying like it's really neat. So I want to point something out. I'm doing studies, like I said. I'm When I do studies, I'm trying to learn from what I'm painting. Uh, I'm not trying to make 100% copies. Don't get me wrong, if I pull off a copy, I will be more than happy. But making actual copies of paintings is ridiculously hard. Like, it's so much harder than you think it is. Um, or it was so much harder than I thought it was, I should say. Yeah, you see all those forgery movies and stuff. Oh no, this shit's ridiculously hard to do. But that is not my goal. Ultimately, my goal is to learn from it, not to copy it directly. And speed is a part of this. Like, I don't want to spend all night, you know, um, what's it called? Just doing one pair of lips because I you know, could literally spend all night doing that. But that is, I think, counterproductive, honestly. Oh, I have paint on me. Didn't realize I put my hand in paint. Let's see. Ashra asks, how did they mix oil paint? Did they have solvents and mediums? They had a bunch of different mediums over the years. As far as solvent goes, I don't know when natural turpentine was invented, but at some point they had natural turpentine. Natural turpentine is different than terpenoid or, or Gamsol or pretty much anything, from my understanding. It's very unique, and very toxic and has horrible fumes. And it's not even the same. Like, if you go to the hardware store and buy turpentine, you're not getting like natural turpentine. I think you need to get, if I'm not mistaken, you have to buy like pine cone turpentine or something like that. Like, it's not very common anymore. Um, but my understanding is the way it interacts with the paint medium with the paint film is a little different than current day, like turpentine, or yeah. Other than that, they had a bunch of different mediums. They had Damar varnish um, at some point. I don't know when I don't know the years all of this was, used. I'm not that good with my history. But yeah, Damar varnish was a popular one at some point. Um, yeah. Laura says, when I did my first oil painting at 12 years old, my mom gave me real turpentine to use, like hardware turpentine from like the hardware store, or like pine uh, tree turpentine or whatever. Hardware store. Okay, that stuff's my understanding is that stuff's actually more toxic than the like uh than the other stuff. But yeah, geez, that stuff has a smell to it. Talk about dealing with fumes. Jeez. There's a painter who a lot of people like a lot. Frank Frazetta. A lot of people know him because he was a old school fantasy uh, painter. And my understanding, this might be lore. I'm not going to claim it 100%. My understanding is he was working on three paintings simultaneously. And by simultaneously, I mean, he was working on them and rotating between them as they went through different drawing periods. Not like he had three brushes working on them simultaneously. Um, but he was working, and his studio was in a small, closed room, and he had a series of strokes, um, and was paralyzed in his right side, which was his drawing side. He actually learned to paint with his left, but he never quite had the same dexterity and nuance afterwards. You didn't hear that story before, Donnelly? Yeah, it's a pretty well known one. Donnelly says, or if I did, I've been getting barraged with Rosetta info at the time and didn't fully digest it. That's fair. Crazy lore. What year is he from? Frank Rosetta. He was active in the 70s, and the 80s. I think the 90s. Um, I don't know when he died. I don't remember what year it was when he died. But yeah, you should check him out online. Frank Frazetta. Frazetta is two T's, if I remember correctly. Oh, he died 2010. Crazy. Yeah, he was amazing. Like so much of the fantasy that everyone knows, like he even if he didn't directly make it, the people that loved him made it, and so it's been influenced by him. Didn't he know they were toxic? Um, you know, I don't know. It might have been a like I don't care kind of attitude. I'm not sure. It's worth remembering some of these things don't have any smell, even if they're super toxic. And they used to like in art school in the 70s and stuff, they did not care at all, is my understanding. Like I know people who have told me stories about their art school experience and like it was just a class and everyone had their their jugs or their whatever jars of paint thinner out and like no one cared. I mean if you go and look at hell if you go and look at what's it called? Um uh oh what's his name? Um the Afro painting guy. Jeez. Um Bob Ross, that's it, Bob Ross. If you go look at Bob Ross's videos, he's dipping his paintbrush in like who knows what kind of solvent that is. And then he just beat the hell out of it. That's insane. Like to me, that is just insane because you're spraying it in the air. I'm just like, that's bonkers to me. Um, but because it evaporates based off a surface area. So if you're spraying it around, more of it will evaporate. But whatever, they don't care. All right, I'm almost done with these lips. I was just correcting a little bit of something. Um, Donnelly says in an interview he claimed to not use models, and that info scared a generation. Years later, fellow artists found Frank Frazetta did use models, and they didn't know why he said not. I can talk about that a bit. Yeah, there's a movie about Frank Frazetta, like a documentary, where there's this claim that he learned anatomy in a weekend by like studying a single book, um, and that he never used models, and it was all from his head. Um, and there were some other claims in the book in the documentary. I don't remember them all. I think, could be wrong. I think the whole idea, because if you watch the documentary, you can kind of see it. It's all made, it's all done like that to make him seem more grandiose and bigger than he is. Um, and I don't think he needed that at all. He was so good. He didn't need to like make himself seem bigger than better than he was or bigger than he was. Um, I really think that was kind of a messed up thing to do and a disservice to all of his fans. Um, it just makes him look kind of shitty, honestly. But I'm not sure if it was him that made that decision, of course. So, uh, you know, but yeah, he used models just like everybody else. Like, no offense to the man, he was an amazing painter, but he also wasn't, you know, he's just a great painter. Like, okay, if you look at Kim Jung Ji, right, who used to do, he also passed away. He used to do a lot of things from his head, right? And it's amazing. His abilities and his skills are amazing. But even Kim Jong Ji, it's not like as impressive as it is, and it is impressive, it's still, other people can do that too. He's not the only one. He might be the most well known, he might be the best at it, but he's not the only human on the planet that can do that. A. B, it comes at a price. His the stuff that he draws from imagination like that, there's a genericness to it in the sense of like generic to him. Like he has a tendency to do a lot of things the same way. That's just you know how that is. That's why people use reference a lot. That's why people look up different types of reference and different types of people and so on. I'm not trying to take away from any of his ability. It's astonishing. But that's my point. It is astonishing. You don't need to like pump him up more than he already is. And the same thing with Frazetta. Frazetta was freaking like he's so good. I don't know why you would need to pump him up to make him seem like a better painter in any way. All right, let's move on to the next lips right now. But yeah, that is unfortunate that they did that. I mean, even what's his name? Bob Ross, like was Bob Ross was insanely good too, right? And in fact, I think if you watch the documentary on him, you get to learn some of the information of how like good he was. But like if you never watched the documentary, you wouldn't know a lot of things about him. Like that he painted every painting that he ever did three for the show like three times. Um and and he did the tapings live, so they're real time. So he actually did do them in that amount of time. And then also in the beginning, he would shoot a whole season in like 3 days, which is just crazy. It's just insane. Ashura says all artists and celebrities need a little bit of polemic. Uh, Hold on. I missed what Laura said. First thing that came up was someone saying that any prompt for AI that includes Frazetta comes up with great images. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second, everybody. I'm going to say goodnight to Michelle. I'll be right back. Not even, not it. I'm not even going to put the be right back. I'll be back that fast. All right, I'm back. I didn't realize I was painting off screen. Ashra says, I mean drama. Ah, got it. Yes. So I oh hold on a second. Donley says, I think Frank was trying to build his lore. Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely was. Bob was an amazing landscaper. was amazing at landscapes. In the documentary, they mention that he didn't really have any ability to paint people's likeness, though. Uh, I'll be honest. Like even his landscapes are, you know, they're he is limited in how he can paint those landscapes because he essentially relies on a bunch of tricks to do it. Um, so it is what it is, but I still respect the guy, regardless for a lot of the stuff he's done. But yeah, I can see that his technique of painting, like I said, is in a way a bunch of tricks. In a way, not entirely. That's not entirely true, to be fair. But there, I can't see how they would translate into painting people. Like I can't, yeah, I can't see how that would work. Um, Hold on. Laura says he would talk about how he used to paint differently, but then changed it to the tricks technique for TV. Um, yeah, I, I can imagine that's part of it. I haven't seen, like when I saw the documentary, I don't remember seeing anything where he painted much differently, but I don't remember it that well. So, you know, there's that. I think I was also talking about something else before that, but I do not remember what it was. So, oh well. We have a cat, everybody. One of the furry friends, just like Bob Ross. Not really. Hi, Justin. Hi, Justin. Oh, baby boy. Yeah. Hi. Hi, baby boy. Well, thank you for the licks. Why do you like to lick my nose so much? The people are over there. You need to look in that direction. Yeah, Dresden. This is Dresden. I have three cats. This is my only boy cat, though. His his name's Dresden after Harry Dresden the wizard. Go, go. I know you want to play with your sister. Cute cat. Have I ever painted my cat? I have not. I don't like painting animals that much. I've painted like two. I've painted like two dogs, but that's about it. Um, yeah, I don't like. Um, I'm not that interested in painting animals, so generally, I'm not saying I'll never do it. I'm just saying in general. Donley, would you ever consider painting directly on your cat? No, of course not, Donley. I would not. When um when my previous cat passed away uh, years ago, uh, I painted her favorite things after she had passed away. I did. I don't remember. It was at least three paintings. It might have been uh, four or five. I can't remember exactly. At least three. Uh, but yeah, I painted her favorite toy, her favorite bowl, um, stuff like that. But I never did paint her. It was a good way, I think, of helping to deal with the grief. Because the thing is, when you're painting, when I'm painting, or you know, I don't know how it is for everybody, but when I paint, there's a degree of like using your analytical mind, right? Because you're focused on the process of painting and the technical aspects of painting. Um, so when you're doing that, you're kind of disengaging some of your like other thought processes, you know. Um, so I felt like it let me sit with things um, while also not being overwhelming. Uh, so I'll miss her. She was such a good cat. She actually looked a lot like Dresden. She was originally Michelle's cat, and she looked a lot like Dresden. Different, very different personality, but they were both very sweet, though. She was very, very sweet. Donnelly says, "You're welcome to post pics of your cat in my Discord. I may draw them some stream." Ah, Donnelly, that's awesome. Yeah, uh, absolutely. I'll do that. I have painted some animals, especially for Michelle. Michelle has her what's it called? Michelle has an Etsy store. She runs her own business, and she makes pins and stuff like that. And she makes some with animals on it. So I've done some animals. It's all digital work. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do like pet portraits or something. I think I told this story uh, on Monday. Maybe not. I can't remember. But when I went to uh, when I was 15, I took art lessons at a some studio. Some artist. Is honestly the guy was kind of a lunatic, but he's a good painter. I have no idea what his name is. This is a crazy Russian guy. I don't remember his name. Um, It's like a local place kind of thing, right? And they brought in a nude model at one point, and like I said, I was 15 at the time. Uh, I was very, very awkward in the beginning. You know, just like I don't know where to look, I don't know how to, how to act, so on and so forth. And but like 5 minutes into the painting drawing process, I forgot about all of that, and it was just back to like you know painting and drawing, and the focus was okay. This is this. This is this. This goes there. This goes. And so I was just saying like you know the way that you kind of disengage aspects of your brain to when you're focused on that is just you know like you're so focused on those the analytical part on the getting things right and so on, that a lot of that other stuff just you know doesn't mean anything anymore. Stanley says, yeah, it's amazing how art can focus you if you let it. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's a type of focus. It's definitely a very strong focus. And I really do think it like engages so many aspects of one's brain that, I don't know, I feel like a lot of things kind of fall to the side kind of thing, so you don't notice them as much. And I notice this even talking. Like there are times when I'm talking and I stutter. I think I just did it a few times, but sometimes it's because I'm trying to find my words, but sometimes it's because my brain's just like, okay, I can talk or paint, and right now you're painting, so we're gonna stop talking for a moment. And then as soon as you finish putting down that brush stroke, we can start back up again. Did I enjoy those times with the crazy Russian teacher? I did. I learned a lot from him, and I enjoyed a lot of it until until I pissed him off, and he kicked me out of his class and his studio. I didn't enjoy that part. But it was I learned a lot from it. That's for sure. Yeah. So what happened was I can tell that story. It's not all that crazy. Um, he there was one time where I was what's it called? I was working on something, and he hold on a second. Donnelly says that part sounds less enjoyable, but it sounds like a story. Yeah. Well, what happened was he what's it called? He was, like I said, he was teaching, but on one of my paintings, he had uh, he had done so much of the painting at that point. Because what he would do is he would, take your like he'd come to show you something, and he'd take your brush and just do it for you sometimes to show you, right? But he had at a certain point he had done so much painting on my painting that I was just like, hey, given that you've basically painted this for me, like, you know, can you finish it and sign it for me? Like, or something like that. Cause like, I can't, this isn't my painting at this point. Actually, no, I take that back. I didn't say that. I said that to another teacher. I didn't learn. Hold on. I'll tell you about that other teacher. Oh shit, yeah. Um, so no, I didn't say that to him. I think what happened was I remember I asked him if he wouldn't mind telling me and like showing me, but not painting on my painting because I wanted it to be my painting. I didn't want it, I want to learn from him, but I wanted it to be my painting without him working on it, kind of thing, which is way more diplomatic than the other thing. And he went crazy for that. No, my other teacher, I remember I actually did say that to another teacher of mine, but he was much cooler and I had a much better rapport with him. I was older. Um, and so he was showing me, he was doing the same thing where he was like painting the painting for me. And so finally I was like, hey man, I appreciate this and I've learned a lot, but like, I don't feel comfortable saying that this is my painting at this point. So, but I would love to have one of your paintings. Can you finish it and sign it for me? Because then I can have it. I'd love that. He was a much cooler teacher. He was fine with it. I'll be honest. I don't remember if he did it, but he didn't get mad either way because I kept working. I kept working with him for a couple of years. That was at the art school I went to in LA. Um, yeah, he was such a good artist. It's such a shame that the school ended up closing and there's so much drama around it all, which I'm not going to get into all of it because I don't want to spread, uh, you know, all kinds of drama and stuff. But yeah, my cats are playing and going crazy. Sorry if this is too personal. When did you start painting? I don't, no, it's not too personal. I don't want to share other people's issues is the thing. Like my art school, there is so much drama in my art school. Not mine, other people. But because it's other people, it's not really my. I don't feel comfortable sharing it. But yeah. When did I start painting? Jeez. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I took art classes when I was 15, so I did some amount of painting then. I used to want to be a comic book artist, so I mostly focused on that. And then, so my focus was more on drawing than anything. I went to art school in LA in 2000 and trying to remember if it was I think it was 2003 or 2004, and I went for like 3 years to a local art school in LA. Um, yeah, where I did learn to I didn't learn oil paints, ironically. I learned acrylics and watercolor, but I did and drawing and illustration stuff like that. But I never touched oils then. Um, then at some point on my own, I went all digital for numerous reasons. One, I was still in the more comic booky type of stuff, and then at one point, I basically pared down my whole art studio to a laptop because I thought I was going to have to live out of my car and work out of my car. Um, and I wanted something that would allow me to do that. And luckily that didn't happen, but uh, it almost happened. And then I also did get into like markers at some point and so on. I still do a lot of digital work for work, but at some point I I decided that I wanted to do more personal work for myself because I've been working for other people so much, uh, and so I gravitated towards oil paint because a lot of my favorite painters are paint in oils. And I will say this, if you have a bunch of favorite painters, like if you have like 10, 20 painters that you love and you're like, these are my favorite painters, and all of them paint in a particular medium, and you want to paint like them, the obvious choice is to learn to paint in the same medium. So that's why I ended up getting into oils. And it took me, I would say it took me about 5 years to really get a handle on oils, but that's not a very accurate timeline um, because during those 5 years, I was working full time. Actually, I was working more than full time at a lot of different things, and so I couldn't take any classes, which would have helped a lot. Um, and I didn't have. I basically learned oil painting through YouTube videos. Like I learned how to control, like I learned how to use the medium through that. Like I learned all the details of like, you know, how like all the details of oil painting from that. Not painting, but the medium aspect of it. Um but yeah, like I said, I also was like working more than full time. So I it was very, very hard to like dedicate time to it and really be able to get past all the like issues that I had. And like I said, I couldn't take a class, and it would have been so helpful to have uh, some guidance in some areas would have been immensely helpful. I think I would have, what's it called? I would have passed a lot of stumbling blocks much faster had I had some people guiding me in certain areas. Who are my favorite painters? I have a lot. I'll I can get into it, although I can't remember all of them because my memory sucks. Is it true what you said? Oh, it's true what you said, but you can also base their style or steal something of their style technique and bring it to a new medium and create your own sort of things. Oh, absolutely. You definitely can. Um, but here's the thing. You absolutely can. But the thing is that um, the medium that you work in, whatever medium you work in, it affects your painting. I know that's a very obvious statement, but yeah, most of the time, a painting done in oil paints looks like an oil painting versus a watercolor painting, and so on. Now, that's not 100%. There are exceptions, and there are people who can manipulate that. And digital is also very good at faking things. So it's not 100%, absolutely. But there is an element of that. Like if there are aspects of a painting style that you like, it makes sense to learn that painting medium if those things are inherent to the medium, right? Like, so that's all. But no, you're right. It's not a perfect thing. So you make a good comment. Absolutely. Some of my favorite painters. Oh, geez. Of course, I have to say Nicholas Uribe is one of my favorite painters. Um, and you should check him out on ourpaintedlives.com and Our Painted Lives on YouTube. He is amazing. Other than Nicholas Uribe, I really like Jennifer Balkin. Um, I love Chelsea Lang. She's also a YouTube painter. YouTube painter sounds so dismissive. She's a painter who also has a YouTube channel and has really great content on it. Chelsea Lang. Um, I love I love me some John Singer Sargent. Um, I love JC Leyendecker. I love Rockwell, but I prefer Leyendecker to Rockwell, although they're very similar. Frank Frazetta, Nicholas Uribe, Uriba, something like that. Ah, no, no worries. It's hard. Names are definitely hard. Yeah. I'll try and write them down, um, or spell them out for you. Uh, but Our Painted Lives on YouTube. Just look them up on. You can look them up on YouTube. Thanks, Des. I should make you a mod on YouTube at this point, but I'm not going to put you on the spot and make you a mod. So, and I also can't do it on the spot because I don't know how to. So, we can talk about it later if you're up for it. I don't feel like you need to be up for it though. Yeah, I literally like don't know where to find the thing on how to do it. Um, I'm sure it's not hard, but I just like off the top of my head, I'm like, I don't know. I've said this before, but you want to hear the stupidest thing? I actually am a mod for a different YouTuber. And in his chat, when people write something inappropriate, he's a YouTube streamer. I can see message withheld, blah blah blah. I can see all the YouTube mod controls, right? It's great. It's like this is fantastic. When I open up my own chat in YouTube, none of that. I get none of that. It is the dumbest thing. Sorry, I'm just venting for a second because that shit drives me crazy. That third lip is so good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Donley says, I'm sure there's a how to mod YouTube thing. There is, and yeah, I need to, whatever. Thanks for, thank you, Des. I'll look at it later. So it's getting kind of late. I'm going to be ending soon, unfortunately. I'm just going to try and finish this real quick. But I do want to talk about these lips for a second. Um, yeah. Do I receive a lot of hate? No, I do not. Dunley, yeah, Leon, if you do a forward slash in the chat, a bunch of commands will come up. One of those is make a person a mod, I believe. All right. No, luckily I do not. However, yeah, no, I haven't received a lot of hate. Luckily, although there are some people who really hate me a lot, um, because I am so on Twitter. I'm pretty much that's the only platform I'm okay. Now I'm active on all platforms, but specifically on Twitter, I'm very active against AI. Like I deal with that a lot on my Twitter and talk about that. By the way, if you are not a fan of AI, there are links in the description of my YouTube channel to the Glaze project and to Nightshade if you want to poison the well um, for machine learning who steal your content without asking you. You can run it on all of your art and you can run it on personal photos as well. Check it out in the description. And it's free. But yeah, I talk a lot of shit on Twitter about AI art and stuff. And so there are some people there who do not like me very much. Um, but they're really shitty people, so I don't really care what they think. And I know they're really shitty people because I once went to a group therapy session online that was meant to be it was meant to be like a counseling session, a support group. That's the word I was looking for. It's meant to be a support group for people who are struggling with the realities of how AI has affected them and so on. And I went to it to support other people. I'm fine. AI so far hasn't isn't actually affecting me, but I mean it's affecting my mental health, but it's not it's not affecting my job um, at the moment. Um, but I went there to support other artists, and they came and AI people came in and they what's it called? They trolled a bunch of people who are dealing with basically depression and mental health issues, and they came in there and trolled them for like no reason. So those people are shit, and I don't really care what they think. But yeah, some of them hate me. Not a lot though. I'm not that important, being honest. You were asking because of what I said about the comments? What did I say about the comments? Now I'm curious. Yeah, I do. Like I said, I did want to talk about these lips for just a second, and I'll do that. Let me just get some final like bits on here. Okay. All right. The comments that you couldn't see your own censored. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, most of that is because of Don Lee. Automod hates Don Lee on YouTube. He gets clapped all the time. No, the other reason is if people wanted to post like links, uh, I would like to be able to approve the links. So like, people like Des or Don Lee, people that I trust, if they want to post a link to something, I'm happy to accept it and just approve it. Des says, she's asking Don Lee if he's ever painted Kylo Ren. Got it. Yeah, so that's it. I've had people come in and be problematic. Mostly it's like people trying to do advertisement and bullshit. Sometimes it's like inappropriate any advertisement's inappropriate, but sometimes it's like, you know, the porny kind. Um so yeah. So I wanna look at these lips for a minute. Okay. So it's not perfect, but you know, I think I accomplished a lot of what I was trying to accomplish here. Um, so the these two, right? Um, they are not what's it called? Hold on a second. Sorry. Okay, so these two are not perfect copies of the original, but like I said, they're studies, right? This one is not technically, it's a study, but this is from a photo. And I think that this one doesn't look like, if I told you that they were all from the same painter, I think it would be believable, which is the idea. Um, like I said, it's not perfect, but I do think that these three look close enough to each other. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm biased. But when I look at them, if you had told me that they were all done by the same artist originally, obviously I painted all three of them, but these two, like I said, are studies. So if you told me that they were all studies, it would, like, to me, that matches. And that was the goal. The goal is to do a study, to do a study, to do a study, and then to do a painting, not a study, but to take what I learned from those studies and apply it to my painting. Does that make sense? I don't know if I described it well. Uh, Des says, what I find hilarious is people come in and claim they are graphic designers and or artists and want to do banners and emotes, but they're asking artists. Oh, I haven't had that happen, but that's funny. The third one is more different. It is a little different. It's a little different for numerous reasons, but you're right. It's not perfect. You are right. I can see the difference, but it's close enough that I could also see it not being different. Does that make sense? And that's just the first one. I'm going to do a few more, not on stream, but I'm going to do a few more. What is going on here? Okay. Oh, they're talking about something else. Okay. But yeah, no, you're all right. It's not perfect, which is fine. It means I have to work at it some more. But also, I will add, part of it is also, there are also sometimes other elements that go into it, like the choice of reference and so on. So it's never going to be perfect, but the idea is to learn from it. And that's the overall idea. So I'm going to be doing a few more of these, not right now, and then Sunday, I think on Sunday, I will be finishing my self-portrait from Drawn Together. Right, the camera doesn't know which face to follow now. I'm messing with the face tracking. It doesn't know who to follow. It doesn't know. That's funny. I may be doing so. Let me pull this up real quick. So this is the self-portrait. Yeah. It may be we'll see. There may be a bit of a drastic changes happening to it when I go to finish it. Like there's the obvious way of finishing it. But I like to make my life hard on myself, so I might not do that. Little foreshadowing for Sunday. So yeah. Oh, something disconnected and reconnected. Oh. I think my stream went out for a second. That was weird. Anyways, perfect time because I'm going. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on, what's it called? Oh, Discord. There's a link to my Discord. Discord's a great way to connect with me. I also have a feedback corner if you want. Donley says, Liad's going to finish his painting Mortal Kombat style. Yes, absolutely. Exactly. Fatality. Absolutely. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Donley is streaming on Friday, I think he said. Check him out. He's really fun. And yeah, I'm going to call it a night. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thursday. Donley's streaming Thursday. Sorry about that, Donley. Donley's streaming Thursday. Go follow him and get notifications of when he's streaming. Also, he has a much better Discord than me. But he doesn't have my feedback corner. So go join both. All right. Have a good night, everybody.